Aries collective. All right, we're going to try this again. I did over an hour reading for you yesterday, and Emperor. And the first half in your energy was very direct, or in the masculine's energy was very direct. And then when I shifted into your person or into the feminine energy, it was all over the place. I couldn't read the Roman numerals. I was misinterpreting things. I was all over the place. It felt like your person might be intimidated by you, or the feminine might be intimidated by the masculine. Now Aries is a masculine sign. It's double fire, cardinal fire, so you can be a female and still be in a very masculine energy, and the masculine could be, or the male, or whatever you're into, it could be in their feminine energy. And by feminine, that means a more receptive energy, so they're waiting to be pursued, because the masculine energy pursues, always. Whenever the feminine pursues, they are in a masculine energy. The Emperor and the Sun. So we have the Emperor peeking out in both of them. Now I got multiple confirmations for Cancer, got double moons, got double justice. So you could be dealing with a Cancer or Libra. You could have Cancer or Libra in your chart. I got double Taurus, and then I got like triple Pisces, which was the High Priestess and the Moon, so that could also be Cancerian energy. But I was getting a lot of Piscean and Third Eye, High Priestess, and so yeah, you could have those in your chart. You could be dealing with that. You could just be in that energy. I don't know how many times I've shuffled these, but we're gonna go there. And so yeah, I feel like your person, there could be dyslexia, there could be bipolarity. There's a lot of polarity going on. Libra is your polar sign. There was also the Emperor and the Empress coming out, or excuse me, the Emperor and the Hierophant, which was the Taurus aspect of the Empress, right? And Aries is double fire, and Earth is double, Taurus is double Earth. Here we go again. Taurus is double Earth. So those are the two polarities as far as the modalities of the signs, because all the water, air, and mutable signs are that in between, that ambiguous, that sort of androgynous quality, where Aries is the most in their masculine with the double fire, and fire is the most obvious, overt masculine energy element, and then Earth, fixed Earth is Taurus is the most overtly feminine. So, and then everything else is kind of more fluid in between. But yeah, when I got into that more, the feminine and the Hierophant, it was almost like the Empress wasn't showing up, but everything around her was. So yeah, I feel like the feminine could be intimidated. There could be dyslexia, there could be bipolarity, confusion, feeling intimidated. This person could be, which the feminine would be more, have a higher EQ, and then the masculine would have a higher IQ, right? With the head and the heart. That's just energy. So, but your person could be more in their emotional energy and feeling intimidated by you, feeling not very smart around you, feeling like maybe you're going to judge them, or if the Emperor was coming out and the Emperor's popping out in this one, so it's like I feel like you're very much in your energy, or the masculine is very much in the Emperor energy, and the feminine is feeling sort of maybe insufficient, right, in some capacity. So we have the Hanged Man, the Nine of Pentacles, the Lovers, the Page of Pentacles, and the Four of Swords. Now, you were getting the Four of Swords yesterday, as well as a confirmation for the Ten of Wands. So I do feel like there is a transitory phase going on in your connection. So there's a lot of endings, right? I was reading all the nines as tens, and I was like, so it's this with this Nine of Pentacles. It's like that is 9, right? Just checking. With the Nine of Pentacles, it's like there's somebody could also be very stuck in their independence, or very in their comfort zone. So that would be that fixed energy, where they are very much, and that could be that fire, that cardinal energy as well, right? That could be both of you mirroring each other, because there was a ton of mirroring and polarity and confirmations, double cards, double energies, double numbers, even though I was reading them all messed up. They were actually double. And so it's like if the masculine in their cardinal energy is very much kind of fixed. I keep wanting to call them fixed. So you could be dealing with a fixed sign, but you could also be very fixed in your cardinal fiery energy, which is very independent, which is very forward motion, motivated, right? And you could just be, maybe this person doesn't feel like you have space for them. Or they could be very fixed in their comfort zone, and the masculine, because the Empress wasn't showing up, the masculine could be, the feminine could be in like a pre-Empress energy, or sort of something about you or the Emperor masculine energy makes them feel kind of shaky, and so they're kind of questioning whether they should stay in their comfort zone because it's safer there, or if they should open up, right, and be ready to receive, like the feminine does, like the Empress does. So the Hangman, yeah, somebody, there's that Pisces energy again, that third eye energy. And then, oh my gosh, yeah, I feel like somebody is scared to speak up or reluctant to speak their truth. Like they feel like they're going to be judged. They feel like they're not going to be favorably judged, right? Because we all judge. So they feel like the judgment is not going to be in their favor. And so, yeah, this person could be feeling a little out of sorts. And the Hangman can also be about, being patient and staying in your lane, like just looking at things the way that you look at them and not listening to the external. So one or both of you could be very heavily influenced by external energy, and external connections, and that's where all the tens come in, like cut that shit out, because that's not going to serve the connection, that's not going to serve you, and that's not going to serve the collective. So the Hanged Man looks at things in their own way, right? They look at things in a unique way, their own unique way. And this person could I keep getting like airhead or spacey, right? This person could be sort of up in the clouds. I was getting that movie, Up in the Air with George Clooney, and I did not know George Clooney's sign, but I checked afterward, and he is a Taurus. And so it was all about I got double confirmation of the Fool from both decks, where I got this sort of minimalist quality, where it's like there's a purge, that transitory phase of purging everything out, releasing the old, in with the new, but it feels like, and a lot of fours. You could be a life path 4, and we also have the Four of Swords again, to confirm that, where it's all about balancing that magician energy of balancing the elements and balancing your thoughts, balancing your money and your energy, how much energy you give to others, your investment with others, right? The Emperor and the Empress don't invest in anybody other than an Emperor and an Empress, right? And so if you want the Four of Wands, which is what the divine union is, that's the marriage, the coming together, the union, the agreement, We have the Two of Cups here, which is kind of like that Four of Wands energy, right? It's like a celebration, all right, we're coming together, and then she's holding her belly like we're ready to create something. So that's the union, and we've got Nine of Pentacles, and then we've got the Page of Pentacles. Could be an age difference, but I feel like somebody is feeling like, I've got this offer, all right, it's taken them a long time to come in, but this person seems very independent. And so it's, again, if you or they have been put down through your upbringing, right, through childhood, put down, if maybe you had a learning disability, whatever that means. Maybe you were medicated for that. You could have diagnosed bipolar, diagnosed anxiety, ADHD, blah, blah, blah. There's a bunch of diagnoses out there to basically put people in a box, right? And so this person might feel, the Page of Pentacles usually gives off they have a solid offer. This person could be kind of questioning, are they enough, right? Maybe they were made to feel like they weren't enough, and maybe you or they have a parent of the same sign, or of the same energy, or like resemblance. Maybe there's some sort of similarity to one of your parents that makes this person feel reluctant or feel like triggered. Because even though this person is in their Four of Swords, they look worried, it's like they're waiting, and the feminine does wait, right? The feminine waits to receive. There's a patience. This is balance of the masculine energy and a masculine element of air. And their legs are crossed, they're waiting, but it almost feels like, am I gonna die alone? And so, yeah, you might just be very much in your, also I was trying to reference you might be very much in your independent, focused on you, your own path, in such a direct way that it's just intimidating. I've said that a bunch of times, but that's just what I'm getting. But I saw this meme not too long ago, and I tried to reference it, and then I couldn't remember it. Totally fucked it up in the reading yesterday. I was very tongue-tied. Once I tapped into your person's energy, or again, the feminine, once I started to move into the feminine aspect, it was like, but the meme is, when you teach a wolf to meditate, they become aware wolf. A play on words, dad joke. So yeah, there could be something with that, with the Hangman and all the Pisces energy, the wolf energy. I was getting lone wolf energy with the Fool, and the leader of the pack, vroom vroom, that song, the leader of the pack, the Hanged Man, and the King of Swords. Okay, so the masculine might be waiting for the feminine to pursue them. Okay, which again, masculine pursuit. So if you are the masculine, now that's the struggle with females or males that are in an opposing energy of masculine or feminine, right? And that's the struggle with all the mutable signs as well, because that's like the challenge of their course, is to find out how to balance, knowing when to go, when to stay, knowing when to be in their masculine, knowing when to be in their feminine, when to activate and when to not retreat like in fear, but to retreat into self, because mutable energy is reflective, right? But the King of Swords is decisive, and with the Hanged Man here, I feel like there's a bit of maybe impatience. Somebody is waiting, but they do have time on their heels. So somebody could also feel like, with that, am I going to die alone? They could feel like time is running out, right? My cousin Vinny, my biological clock is ticking like this, right? I ain't never getting married. All right, so we have the Eight of Wands. And the King of Swords can be quite intimidating or seem quite cold, very direct with their communication. So if this is the masculine, that's good. You want to be in that masculine energy and be very direct. But there may need to be a softer approach if you're dealing with someone who is maybe timid and shy. Scared am I for things beyond my reach. I feel they maybe feel like somebody feels like somebody's out of their league, or just a league of their own, which the divine union is two cycle breakers, right? So you're going to be unfamiliar and foreign to each other because you've never met anybody like them, right? And you meet them once you actually meet and accept yourself, and then they mirror that frequency, and that's when you come into the truth together. Whereas if they feel familiar, they're a cycle, right? Because the divine path is paving a brand new path. You're the first one to do it. That's why you're a cycle breaker, right? You chose this. So Eight of Wands with the Nine of Pentacles. The Eight of Wands is paving that new path. It's starting a new cycle. The 8, right? Strength, the magician energy with the number 8 could be a life path. Number 8. We have 4s and 8s. 2, right? Anything where it's mirroring, it's even, it's balanced, right? You guys are coming into a balance. So somebody could seem very fierce. There could be a fierceness, right? Which Queen of Wands, King of Wands, right? It doesn't matter. The Aries energy is quite fierce and intimidating, right? Because they are boss energy. So we have the Two of Cups. What's going on here? All right, come on. Let's not be a dick. Two of Cups. Did I say Two of Wands before? Maybe that's why it wasn't giving me anything, because I was saying the wrong thing. All right, so there's that King of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, somebody feels insufficient. Insufficient funds. They feel like they're not good enough, not smart enough, not fast enough. Like they're not going to be able to keep up with you. Page of Pentacles and Judgment. Yeah, they feel like they're going to be judged as less than. And that's familiar to them. And so because this is your divine union, obviously you're not going to judge this person that way. If this is your person we're talking about, which it feels like. So be kind, be gentle. And there may be something like attracts like. So if they're feeling that way, you could be judging yourself harshly because you may have had to grow up faster than your siblings or friends or those around you, right? You may have had to like be more in that. You could have been raised by a single parent maybe, and you had to take the lead, or you were like a latchkey kid, right? There was something about maybe you, something around puberty, because my voice keeps cutting in and out. That's also mercurial and magician energy with the throat chakra, which rules Taurus and is associated with Virgo and Gemini. But we have the Eight of Pentacles, 8 again with that 4. Yeah, I feel like you guys are trying to figure out how to balance your own masculine, feminine, and child, like your own holy trinity. It's masculine, feminine, and that inner child. The inner child is the spirit, it's the freedom. And then the masculine and feminine is how we, I was going to say terminate, but how we navigate this terrestrial plane. Terminator. Anyway. But yeah, there could be something robotic about the way that you are moving in your life, and that feels sort of like this person might feel like, oh, I'm going to be too emotional, I'm going to be considered irrational or hyper emotional or over talker, overthinker, over whatever, over lover. I don't want to over invest. Like they have a solid offer. You know, they've been on this journey for a long time and they've been slow and steady. But the feminine is more slow and steady. It's very grounded. It's in Pentacles or Earth, right? So that's that feminine energy. So this is very much like a polarity, which is great, right? That's perfect. That's what we want in a divine union. You want the complementary mirrors, right? To come in and reveal aspects of the other person that they didn't even know that they had in them. But of course they have them in them because they've attracted you, and like attracts like. So it's in there. And then there's also, you know, some people go with the opposites attract, right? So like attracts like, but opposites also attract. But I think opposites attract because it's, you know, it's like you come together and you fill the gaps, right? You fill all the spaces. Knock it off, Aries. So the Four of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles is somebody who really just like, okay, well, I'm just going to work on this here because they're in the Nine of Pentacles. So I've got one pentacle. Let me work on 8 more. Now, if you're the feminine Aries, then the masculine could be like, oh, I gotta boss up here, right? Because they're already such a boss. They're such a, we got the King of Wands and the King of Swords, right? So it's like we've got half of the way towards the Emperor, right? And it's all around water. We've got, you know, the King of Swords to clarify the, keep wanting to say the High Priestess, which this does kind of have that priest energy. The way that he's sitting almost looks like the masculine of the High Priestess, which is the Hierophant, the High Priest, right? All right, yeah. So the Ten of Pentacles and the Magician. Eight of Swords, Two of Cups, King of Cups, Page of Swords. Yeah, somebody is watching like a hawk, which the hawk and the falcon are the Native American zodiac for Aries. So you could be seeing hawks and or falcons. Also, you could be watching movies where it's like the eagle, right? The eagle sound effect, that like very it's like clip art, you know, it's like very mainstream, that little audio clip of the supposed eagle in the sky, right? But that clip is actually a hawk or a falcon, right? Because they make that pure sort of long, you know, just like that. Just like that. That sounded a little bit more like a raven, but I think that's my puberty hitting. Which the raven is the Native American zodiac for Libra, and that's your polarity, right? That's the polar sign to Aries. The Empress is the polar sign to the Emperor. Emperor is Aries, sometimes Capricorn, and then the Empress is Libra and Taurus, right? So either way, we're getting the energy of the Empress. Whether you're dealing with a Libra or a Taurus is irrelevant. You're dealing with somebody in that energy. You're dealing with your polarity. This is the first time I've had this one. It's very good. I had to pull away from the ones that I usually get because they have too much caffeine, and sometimes they have alcohol in them. It's very little, but I do feel that it influences me, right? As a recovered alcoholic, it is something that still hits me from time to time, where it's like, you know, your body starts to crave it. And yeah, so maybe some devil energy going on. Somebody could be sort of just working to maintain their balance. Strength in reverse. Which, holy mother of shit. Here we go. I made it most of the way through. And here it comes. But yeah, strength in reverse. I feel like, which Strength is Leo, it's the sun. Sun is God. The closer you get to God, the closer the devil gets to you. That's the conditional aspect of time on the heels there. There's something about just a lower vibration is maybe trying to creep in. And of course it's going to, because whenever you could have Virgo in your chart, because I'm feeling very nutso about these cards. And I started out that way. And that could be that sort of like, maybe you grew up kind of regimented and not as light and feathery as you would have liked to, right? So that passion moved into a more, it could move into anger, right? Fire moves into anger in its lower vibration. Earth moves into bipolarity. Swords moves into anxiety. And then water is more like depression, right? Depression, sadness, unregulated emotions, right? That's the unregulated emotional result of each kind of element. But yeah, the closer that you get to God, which is whatever nomenclature you attribute to God is up to you, of course. It's all relative. But in this case, it's the sun, right? It's source, it's the truth. So whatever the truth is, whatever divine truth and alignment is to you, is God. That's your God. So when you're talking about a divine union, that's the most truth, because that's two individuals who have broken a cycle, who have found their alignment and truth, and then they attract each other on that frequency. So it's double your pleasure, double your fun. The Hierophant. Yeah, and that's that polarity. This is the teacher and the student, right? There's that. So we have the masculine aspects of Pisces and of with the Hanged Man and the Hierophant, because the Hierophant is the masculine counterpart to the High Priestess. So it's like we're missing the feminine, and so the feminine could also just have been in their masculine energy because they've had to be independent, because they had to grow up faster, because maybe they were the eldest, maybe they were an only child, maybe they had to like pick up the slack, maybe they were, emancipated, they went to school, started their own business, right? The Emperor is often an entrepreneur, so if you are the feminine, you could feel very much like in your masculine energy, so it's hard for you to come into a place of receiving, and if you've gone through cycles and cycles of disappointment and being let down, being hurt, and if this particular person, which you may or may not see, I feel like with the Page of Swords, the masculine has already identified the feminine, so they're watching the feminine. But again, the feminine could be in their masculine energy, and that could be why they're the masculine's not pursuing them. The divine masculine's not pursuing them. The divine feminine could be in their masculine energy, which is actually like putting them back into like a pre-Empress energy, right? So when they're alone, right, when they're on their own, they're in their own world, they've created this hermit-like Virgoian space. Everything is very nice and neat, and there is no disruption, but love comes in and kind of says, screw all that. Page of Wands, Eight of Swords. Yeah, there's anxiety, Swords energy, mutables. I mean, someone's going through that mutable energy, which is they're in the self-analysis, they're in the self-inventory, right? And if they're looking at what they have to offer, they just might feel like maybe it's not enough. Well, you are enough, okay? And you're going to be more than enough to your person, so knock it off. And then the Magician, Ten of Pentacles. I mean, the Ten of Pentacles is what we're looking for. That's the feminine abundance. in the 3D, right? So it's the 3D is masculine, the 5D is feminine. So when you're bringing the divine union together, which is what the Hierophant does, the Hierophant learns from, they are the student of the 5D, and then they're the teacher and the leader of the 3D, right? So they're always in that sort of ambiguous energy. They always have to stay the student and the teacher. The best teachers are students, right? They're always learning. There she is. There's the Empress. See? So, yes, all of this advice is self-worth, how you're talking about yourself, how you're thinking about yourself. So hone that back in and give yourself some grace. Give yourself the feminine energy that you deserve. And then that will guide the masculine into King of Cups. So there's that water energy as well. But the opposing, jumping around now, but the opposing sign to the sun is the moon, right? That's not the opposing, that's more the polarity. The opposing would be the devil, right? The opposition of God is the devil, right? So that's that, if you're lacking strength of, right? And strength often comes from allowing yourself to be weak, allowing yourself to, and you might be cringing at that because you're like, I'm not weak, I'm not a weak bitch. But that is you coming into a place where you are nurturing yourself, allowing yourself to have grace and gratitude for where you are and what you've done, what you've gone through. Because if you're worried, if the frequency that you're putting out there is, this worry that you're not enough, that's what you're going to attract. You're going to attract things to confirm that, right? So even if you have your eye on a person, they're not going to be your divine union, because you're going to attract them in that lower frequency. So that's that Eight of Pentacles, is working on grounding your thoughts, right? Bringing yourself out of the clouds. That's that airhead, that sort of up in the air. It's like you're too much in your mind. You're too much, and that's The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise, he's a Cancer, that Cancerian energy. Like, bring that back down, right? Come out of that current and go into the watery current. Bring it back down into a place of feminine, nurturing, grace, receiving, and that takes a lot of strength, right? That takes a lot of strength. So let's get one more on the strength over here. Yeah, I feel like the masculine has already identified, because that's what happens is the feminine becomes aware in the 5D of the presence of a twin flame, right? They tap into, even if they don't have a name for it and they don't call it a twin flame, they know that they have a person in the 5D. They tap into it first. And then because of that, they start to lure, right? Not in a manipulative way, but they start to lure and attract their person. It's that recognition. It's like when you're in a crowded room and you feel somebody looking at you, that's the feminine. They're looking at the masculine in the 5D. They don't see them in the 3D necessarily, and then the masculine looks, and it's kind of like smoke. Smoke gets in your eyes, and the masculine looks across the room and sees the feminine, but the feminine has looked away at this point, right? Like there's smoke in the air, they're looking a different direction, so it's like they might see them in their dreams with the Piscean energy, right? If that's all about dreams, the moon is about dreams, so that's the polarity there. And it also might feel like to the feminine that this doesn't even feel like it can happen. It doesn't feel like it's realistic, right? And that is your masculine energy talking, because you're not trusting your intuition, you're not trusting your gut, you're not trusting the femininity. So you may need to shift into your other elements, right? Shift into your moon sign so whatever your moon sign is, let me know in the comments if you want to, or don't, free will. But yeah, shift into your moon sign, because the moon sign is about faith, right? They don't need to see, the feminine doesn't need to see the masculine in the 3D to know that they exist. But masculine energy is more physical, right? It's the 3D. And so with that Page of Swords, I feel like the feminine is looking in that crowded, smoky room for their masculine, which is like in their dreams or like daydreaming, and that's the head in the clouds, right? So they're thinking about them, they're feeling about them all the time. And it's like maybe creating too much turmoil. It's like it's got you all over the place, and it might be hard for you to focus on the physical. Like in your day-to-day life, you could be feeling kind of fumblerooski all over the place. You could be breaking things, tripping over things. You could be messing numbers up. Like if you work in something that's more logical, analytical headspace in the 3D, you could be kind of like, or you have to like read or something. You know, when you try to read or tell time in a dream, it's all jumbled up. It makes sense, but then when you wake up and you try to replicate the image in some way, if you dream journal, then you're like, I don't know what the hell that was, but I felt it, right? You wake up with a feeling, but you can't really pin down what exactly it was that made you feel that way. That's kind of where the feminine feels like they're in this in-between, and they might be like in this meditative state, like walking meditation. They kind of feel like they're in this ethereal la la land in their head all the time, and that could really be challenging them. But the masculine feels very much, and that I use that term, fixed for the Aries, the cardinal fire. So it's like they could feel very grounded, right? And so you could be dealing with an earth sign, but it feels like they're more grounded. We got pentacles all over the place. The Seven of Pentacles is having that faith that the dream you had when you were a child, that first inkling, that first look across the crowded room in the 5D, in the astral plane. Maybe you used to sleepwalk or astral project when you were a child, right? And you went into the further, like Insidious. But that is when you go into the astral plane, you are opening up, right? The closer you get to God, the closer you get to the 5D, the more open and available you are. So when you're open to receive the divine, you're also open to receive all the other stuff too, right? So that indicates to me that you need to keep your spiritual space very clean. You know, spell work, the way that you talk, the way that you communicate, that's how you also balance. This isn't just sitting in lotus and, you know, chanting. All right, that's very effective, but this is more about like keeping your thoughts balanced and keeping your space. And with the number 4, I feel like that's your physical house and home, so that's your body, and then whatever external vessel that mirrors your body that you live in is keeping the spell work there, right? Like keeping your protection spells up, saging, keeping your house clean, all right, changing your filters, right? Because that all seems kind of like, what the hell does that have to do with, you know, energy? That's energy work, and the devil creeps in like a parasite, right? So if you have dust, if you have clutter, if you have dirty spaces, guess what likes that? Mosquitoes lay their eggs in that, right? Roaches, you know, fucking fleas, ticks, right? The critters come in, right? Which is why you see bugs and rats and things are usually associated with, symbolically associated with the devil, right? Cleanliness is next to godliness for a reason, because having and that's kind of what that minimalism effect that I was getting in the last reading is, like cleaning your space, keeping your space clutter free, purging out the stuff that doesn't serve you. And that's physical stuff, that's thoughts, that's past cycles, that's you know, substances, and connections, right? Connections that are not serving you. because the devil will creep in that way too, right? Demonic influence comes through a lot of different forms, right? And also dust. What does dust do? Dust and might, it attracts mites, right? So they mess with your allergies, right? Then you build up mucus. If you're eating poorly, that builds up mucus. That clogs your third eye because you've got sinuses full of mucus, your digestive system, so you're not able to release through the root chakra because your digestive system is built up with mucus. You become constipated, and then all of your chakras become backed up and blocked, and you're not able to channel like the Hierophant, right? You're not able to channel the 5D and the 3D, right? You're not, because the mind is cluttered. Too many mind. So this is having faith. Let's go back to this. Seven of Pentacles is about having faith in the seeds that you planted. Believing without seeing, right? Because if you're the feminine, but you're in a masculine energy, you may be like, I need to see my person. Like, I feel them, but I don't see them. And so that could be, you could be teetering on your faith a little bit. Well, this is tapping into your faith in whatever you call the divine, right? Whatever that truth means to you. You discovered that truth long ago, lifetimes ago with this person, all right? And this is not one person. This is an energy. This is a frequency. A divine union is about a frequency. So you may be with a bunch of people, girl, you may be with a bunch of people who are close or seem similar or have the potential, and a lot of people will just stop there and go, oh, that's my twin flame. So now I'm going to track them in the 3D until they get their shit together, until they become my divine. Come on. I can't. I changed my space around. So, because I sold my table because I am purging everything, to move into a van and do a van tour. So I'm back to sleeping on the floor and my whole space is moved. So anyway, that's why I keep knocking this shit over. Yeah, it's completely conditional to say that the person that you like the way they look or superficially, or if you fall for potential, you might think that you're being extra compassionate because you're like, well, I see the potential in them. You're actually enabling them because you're still giving them energy for being on a low frequency. So you're keeping yourself on that frequency by giving them energy. And the best way to raise the vibration is to raise your own focus. That's this Hanged Man, watch your lane, right? Maybe you, there's one of you is military or, police force or likes to shoot guns. But that's also temperance, right? Having the patience, because the archer watches their lane. They keep their eye on the target. They keep their eye ahead of them. They don't pay attention to all this stuff. I think Kevin Costner is a Capricorn, which is the devil. And in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, it's like Maid Marian's blowing in his ear to distract him, which she does effectively. So keep your eye on the prize, right? Keep your eye on the thing. And it's silly in that part, but on the divine path, if you shift your focus, if you're looking in the rearview mirror, you will crash because you're not able to look at the road ahead of you. And that's the divine path. It's forward. And if other people want to come up and get on your speed and match your frequency and like tune into whatever song you're doing and they want to jam next to you, that's on them, right? But if you're waiting for somebody in particular to do that, that's very conditional, that's a very low vibration, and that's where demonic influence can just creep in. Five of Wands, blocked passion, the world in reverse, and the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, that feels like the feminine, and I get this impatience and this frustration with the feminine in all the magician readings that I was doing. It's like the feminine is very much impatient, and it's like, this is your best friend outside of yourself, your divine union, your divine partner. is your companion for not just for life, for lifetimes. You don't want to rush them. Do you want to be rushed? Like, you have to have grace for this person. Why would you want to get with somebody who's rushing you, or who's basically telling you you're not enough by saying you have to be my person? So that means I'm not your person, and I have to change who I am, or what path I'm on, or what I'm discovering and learning about myself to meet you. Like, why? What are you offering that's so great? You know, what do you bring to the table? So there could be some conflict there, right? All divine unions are twin flames, but not all twin flames become a divine union because of that. Because people just isolate a person, they feel the connection, and then they go, that's my person. And I'm not willing to budge until that motherfucker gets their stuff together. And it's like, that's a horrible place to be. That's a horrible 45 on the clock. 9/9/18/9, right? Worry about yourself. Focus on your lane. Continue to do your work. If this is where your person is, now I'm talking to the one on the lower vibration. If this is where your person is and you feel like you don't have enough, work on yourself. Go back through the steps. Right? Go back through all the major arcana and apply them. Apply the lessons that come with those. Apply the strengths that you gain from delving into the spell work, from the energy work that it takes to gain the strength from this. If you feel like you're lacking strength, right? Maybe you have Leo in your chart, get into a Leo vibe, the high frequency of Leo, not past Leos that you've dealt with and matching their frequency and going, because a lot of times maybe this person, again, you might remind each other of a parent, you might remind each other of past lovers, which we choose past lovers. We choose our lovers based on our parental upbringing, right? Our primary caregivers and guardians. That's the energy that we attract because it's familiar until we break the cycle. So this person might remind you or have something that's similar. They might be the same sign as an ex. They might have the same name as an ex. They might look like that ex, right? There could be some similarity to past connections that maybe is off-putting and making you kind of like, I don't know if I want to go down this road again, right? Which is completely your choice. But I feel like with all this overthinking and like trying to get your shit together, you want this, and you're just allowing fear and attachments to the past, which is root chakra. That's the Capricorn, that's the devil, right? You're allowing attachments to things or the past. You could be looking through old photos of yourself. You could be comparing yourself to others. You could be finding sentimentality in things around your house, or in your space, right? Physically, energetic, emotional. You could just be feeling very attached, and that is just fear keeping you from taking the leap of faith, right? This could also be the Fool here. So we have the Devil, and underneath the Devil is the Fool. Holy shit. Just what I was talking about, right? The Devil is blocking you, and this is also very conditional. This is very conditional. This is saying you must be my person because I like the way your hair looks, because that could be a projection. Okay. But that's just saying, like, because I like the way that you look, or the sex that we had, right? If this is a past connection, right? If you're attached to this person, or if you want to make this person something that they're not, right? Maybe they will be one day, and that's great, and you need to leave them to their own devices to figure that out for themselves. Because if you were the reason that they raise their vibration under conditional standards, right? Because it's like an ultimatum, that's unhealthy. That's the devil's work. And it's stopping you from taking a leap of faith towards the new. See how he's got this little bag? That's where I was getting the Up in the Air movie, with George Clooney because he's a traveling consultant, and he travels around to fire people, right? So it's like he travels around to cut people off, like to detach people from something that they've usually been in for a long time, right? And it's a very emotional process, but it's like cord cutting. He's like a professional cord cutter. But he does a seminar where he asks, like, how much does your I was gonna say wife weigh? How much does your life weigh? How much does your wife weigh? How much does your life weigh? Because all of his life fits into a suitcase, because that's what he travels constantly. And he gets, tons of flyer miles. He's like collecting them or whatever. But yeah, maybe there's something in that movie. I mean, I really started divining through movies because films were part of the village that raised me. We didn't have cable. We watched Blockbuster was big, so that's where I really started to see different connections, see different relationships, see different personalities and experiences and all of that. Fictional or non, that's what worked for me until I started to like get out and experience life as an adult and I broke free from my past. And that's just a little fun fact about me. But the Fool they're very light, right? They're just very light. Last time when I saw this, I thought these were waves, right? So you could be by a body of water, but with this little wolf dog here, that gives me Cancer, because I get dog with Cancer because they have this like undying loyalty, right? And you might be like, maybe they don't. Again, I got a lot of Cancerian double moons in the last reading, so you could have Cancer in your chart. If you're not dealing with somebody, that is also about the moon. That's about tapping into your intuition. That's about getting into your feelings, like going with your gut. And if you're all mucused up and if you're all blocked up, you're not gonna be able to go with your gut. Your gut's gonna be telling you to stay put, stay right here and be in your space. Like, don't move forward, don't experience, don't free yourself. All right. Like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, where he's like, stay in here, away in here. He's like, that's the devil. The devil is Frollo, is that his name? Yeah, the dickwad, the very conditional guy. He's like the demon in there. And yeah, this Fool, I get that Cancer, and then I also get Pisces from the Native American zodiac for the wolf. The Native American zodiac for Cancer is the woodpecker. So lots of birds as well. I mean, the Native American zodiac, there are a lot of birds. There's like the snow goose, the raven, the hawk, the falcon, the one I just said, the woodpecker. So yeah, like a third of their signs are birds. I think there's another one, but it's not coming to me right now. Yeah. Five of Swords, Magician. I feel like this is just, we have the Five of Wands, Five of Swords, blocked energy, feeling that anxiety. Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to repeat, but that's a double confirmation for the Magician. So Taurus, Virgo, Gemini. That's all the elements, right? The Magician is, the Emperor and the Empress are both magicians, right? And they've just tapped into the feminine aspect and the masculine aspect. And then they bring all those tools together, right? They bring all of that stuff together. They've done the shadow work. They're the ultimate alchemist for their divine counterpart, right? So you're raising your vibration to meet this person because you want something completely new. You want something that is going to be balanced, that's going to be in agreement, that's something you can trust, right? Because you can't take a leap of faith until you trust, right? And the way that you trust is you have to trust yourself, that the work you've done is effective, that the lessons you've learned are going to keep your boundaries up, right? You're not going to fall for an old pattern, right? So if you're feeling any fear, if you're feeling any, because when you have a fractured intuition, from Three of Swords, from having your heart broken, from disappointment, from a chaotic childhood, when your intuition is fractured, it can feel a lot like fear, right? So you want to make sure that you are staying aligned with your truth, keeping your space purified, tempering yourself, going through the mutable energy of checking in with yourself, right? You can practice that physically with yoga. You can practice it, by doing dream work for Pisces, right? Go through each zodiac sign and learn the lessons, because that's what the Emperor and the Empress are. All right, they have conquered, right? And not through war, but they've conquered through peace. All of the kingdoms and queendoms, all of the elements, all of the modalities, the light, the dark, the masculine, the feminine, they've come to a place of ultimate alchemy. And that's when they can come together. So if you're feeling less than, if you're not sure, if you're in fear, or if your intuition's telling you to avoid this person because they're toxic, because they look like somebody or resemble energetically somebody that you've dealt with in the past, then tap back in with self. That's always going to be the advice. If you have Five of Swords, if you feel blocked with, you have too many swords, right? Then balance them with the Four of Swords. If you're in the Five of Wands, you want the Four of Wands, right? You can go into the Six of Wands, right? You can shift into the other ones around you, right? Six of Swords is a new direction. The Six of Wands is self-recognition, right? So the advice is always the same. It's kind of like fortune cookie cutter, very like one size fits all. But by going through the process of self-analyzing and that mutable energy, you can really feel the current of allowing your thoughts to pass, allowing your feelings to pass, but recognizing them when they pass, right? You recognize them and then you send them off. You don't judge them in any way, all right? You allow them to just exist. Because if you start judging them, then you're starting to judge yourself. You're going to identify with your thoughts. You're going to identify with your feelings. That's when we start diagnosing things. It's like, that's just the way that you work. You have that thought, recognize it. Like Horton Hears a Who, the dad, the mayor, he has 99 kids, and a bitch ain't one. He has 99 kids, and he spends like a few 30 seconds or whatever with each one. And he just recognizes them. They say, oh, I won in soccer. He's like, good job. And they move on. Thoughts are like children. Feelings are like children, right? These things that current is like the birds and the fish, right? So we've got that Pisces energy, we've got swords, we've got water. It's mutable energy. It's that bipolarity of masculine and feminine, the head and the heart, and just letting those things sort of be without judgment and without scrutiny, because I feel like somebody's being very hard on themselves and their self-worth, and they're bound by all of this because they're holding on to these thoughts, they're holding on to these traditions, these ways of thinking, these cycles from the past, things that they were told as children, things they were told by their past lovers or connections, friends, family, work environments, right? They were in a lower vibration. It's like, if you're still holding on to that stuff, how much does your life weigh? It's going to weigh a ton. It's going to keep you bound. It's going to keep you buried, right? You're going to feel like you're 6 feet under already. So just allow yourself to come into a place where you can just be. And that's very feminine, right? Get into a feminine energy where you can just be. You're allowing yourself to receive and that will bring you clarity, that will bring you out of the moon energy, that will bring you into a sun energy. You'll find strength and discernment, right? Because that's what mutable energy is. It's about discernment. Fixed energy is about discipline, and cardinal energy for you is about the decision. So you have to, they all happen simultaneously, right? Like a holy trinity. They happen simultaneously, the body, the mind, the spirit, me, myself, and I, fixed, cardinal, mutable, they all happen simultaneously, right? The masculine, the feminine, and the inner child, right? The spirit, that's really what it is. It's allowing those things to be, to coexist, right? So you have to make a decision, and you might just be very much in your decision mode, right? I'm just moving forward, I'm deciding. But if you're constantly in that fire energy of deciding things, but you haven't really come into a discipline, right? Discipline is staying the course, a solitary course. And it just jumped over there, but it was the Hanged Man. The solitary course, that course where you really rely on your faith and rely on the Seven of Pentacles, right? Like, I planted these seeds, I'm just going to keep doing it, right? Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles gets you to the Nine of Pentacles. It gets you to that place of independence, and then you're not codependent, right? Then you can collaborate, you can cooperate, not attach, right? And then the mutable energy is about the discernment, right? So discipline leads to discernment, because it's like sobriety, right? You cut it all out, you purify your space, you cut it all out, and then in that space, which is temperance, right? Having that available space for faith, for trust, it's like you feel very empty, you feel very lonely, right? And you feel like, am I ever going to see the rewards? Is my wheel of fortune ever going to come in, right? And the world being upside down, it's like you need to look at your world in a new way. You need to look at it from a fresh perspective. The Hanged Man, which jumped off of there. So I feel like you might be resistant, and that's why I'm getting very fixed energy from you, where it's like you're very reluctant. Somebody's very reluctant in this connection to look at it from the other person's perspective, or to look at themselves from another perspective, because they're looking at themselves from a perspective that was a lie from their past. It's put upon them. So it's self-limiting beliefs, it's emotional unavailability, lack of vulnerability, and that's stifling this connection. So you know who you are, where you fall in that, and if you don't, the advice is the same. Go back into that introspection, go back into self-inventory, have a little chat with your shadows, become your own alchemist with what you learn from each of the zodiac signs, the major arcana, so that you don't attract this. Jumping off, man. Yeah, it's like the Fool. The Fool's telling you, like, you are ready. You're ready to come into a connection that is everything that you ever wanted, everything that you needed and maybe didn't know you needed. It is divine. So if you rush it, it's demonic. If you allow it to, everything to just come to pass and come to be when it's good and ready, then you know that it's going to be good, God, and ready. And it will be divine timing, and it will be perfect, right? So if you're concerned with perfection about aesthetics or your process, that's conditional. True perfection is divine alignment, divine timing. And anything outside of that is our ego trying to control whatever we said we wanted. We're trying to put that condition of time on it. We're trying to put that condition of, I want it now. We're trying to control it and put it into a box. And as cycle breakers, we just got out of a box. So why would you want to get the fuck back into one and become Schrodinger's cat? It's radioactive in there. Don't do it. because the fallout, the inevitability of being in a box, it's not very good. So it may not happen today or tomorrow, but that tower will come in. Death is was just at the center of the deck there, so that will come in, right? If you don't allow yourself to come to pass old versions of yourself, old connections, then the universe will do it for you, because you already signed the contract that this was your divine path, that you wanted to come into union, that you wanted to be a cycle breaker. This is like what you ordered on the menu, and this is the contract you signed up for. And if you didn't read the fine print, well, you go learn. You're gonna get the letter in the mail that tells you you should have read the fine print. So anyway, I hope there was some clarity in there. I hope there was something in there for you. And if you want to follow me over on Instagram, same name, and I just do, I share silly stuff like, you know, astrological memes and video clips over there. And then I also do some practical methods, some yoga, and some, I'll be incorporating more spell work, but I feel like the collective, it needs to just get into the practical stuff for now before they start trying to do spell work, because if you're coming at it from a lower frequency, it will turn into black magic. And I don't want the collective reaping that, you know, because you'll reap that tenfold, right? So I don't want that. So I'm not going to push too much of that out there. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and hopefully expand that into the collective. So yeah, if you feel called to follow over there, if you feel called to share your sun, your moon, your rising in the comments, or if anything in here resonated, or if you feel like it's completely off base, if you want shorter videos, yeah, I mean, I try to do them, but I end up just like between channeling and everything, I feel like, and because I don't do all the signs as frequently, which I would be able to do if they were shorter, I just feel like I want to get everything out of a reading. So it is pretty heavy and it's a lot of information. But you know, that might not work for everybody. So yeah, if you have any input on that, please share it. Either way, I wish you well.